Hi, guys, and welcome to Kiersey's Corner, the podcast that will make you appreciate your life so much more than you already do once you hear how crazy, funny, dramatic, traumatic my life is. I'm originally from the state of New Jersey. I grew up with four siblings and eventually became a postal worker for 17 years. I've written several published novels that are available on Amazon. I have a successful YouTube channel called Truckin' Along with Kiersey. And over the last 9 years, I have been driving a tractor trailer cross country. I've been a CDL instructor and a team trainer when it comes to trucking. But one thing I've learned in my 50 years on this earth, our life winds up being what we make of it. One decision, good or bad, can alter our life forever. And how we view our lives is going to make a difference in the outcome of our life. Bad things happen to people, good things happen to people. How you deal with those things is going to pretty much determine how happy you're going to be or how miserable that you're going to be. And once upon a time, I felt stuck. I was in a job that I was not happy with anymore. I wasn't making any money anymore. And I had this crazy notion to walk away from my secure United States Postal Service job that really felt like a dead end job. There really wasn't any way to move on. There wasn't any way to really advance or earn more money, and you really couldn't have a life. I worked in a place that was pretty much a 24/7 operation, and certain times of the year, we wouldn't get days off. We'd be working 12 hours a day. Every holiday week was 12 hours a day. And people in general don't think of government work or postal work to be like that. And after 17 years, I decided to just walk away. And I had a friend who was a truck driver, and he said to me, "Go to this training company. I'm telling you, you can get your CDL for free. You can drive a tractor trailer. You sign on with that company for a year, and then you just come back home and get a local job." Which that sounded great to me. It was an easy way to escape. And that's really what I was doing. I was escaping. Really have to research when you decide to jump like that because sometimes you jump and you fall. Sometimes you jump and you break some bones or worse. But I took a jump into a company that really, really did give me a lot of opportunities and allowed me to improve my life. And before too long, I was sleeping better. I was making more money. I was paying off debts. And in general, my life was so much better, but it wasn't easy. And so many people today, they expect life to be easy. They don't want to have to work for anything. In this world that we have text messaging, instant emails, and phone apps, and on demand streaming, people don't want to have to save up to buy a house. They just think they should be able just to go buy it. They don't want to save a down payment for a car. They think they should just go buy it. And the result is that now you're paying more money with higher payments, higher interest, and then you start to feel bogged down. But when I left the Postal Service, I had decided to myself that no matter what happened, I was going to persevere. It was only a year. So I got on that bus, which took me from New Jersey to Missouri. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I had heard women say that I would be treated badly, that it was sexist and male dominated industry. But the truth of the matter was, I had already worked in a male dominated industry for years, so that didn't bother me. I was always an honor student, an overachiever. As I said, I had already published novels. I had done a lot of things in my life. I traveled, I've been around the world. I had worked my way through college. So I was sure that I could do this. I was not expecting it to be as hard as what it was. And I had a great time learning how to drive this huge 75-foot long vehicle that's 13 and a half feet high and 8.5 feet wide. And when you're driving down those roads for the first time, the lanes seem so much wider than they are. And when you're driving through construction zones and you really feel like the back of your trailer is going to hit one of the Jersey wall barriers or run over cones, it can be very intimidating. Backing up is very intimidating. And sometimes you really have to control your emotions to not allow that defeatist moment to seep in. However, when I took my CDL exam for the first time, I messed up on the backing and I pulled forward and pulled back and pulled forward and pulled back too many times. So I pointed out and I failed. So my instructor worked with me on the pad some more, showed me some tips, and I wound up going out on the drive test. And I was so excited because, yes, I passed that backing. Woohoo! But back then I was in a manual transmission and I got to the very first stoplight and I popped the clutch too fast and I stalled that truck. And I started right away and I thought that it was able to save myself. So for the next 20 minutes, I drive around town and I did really well and I was so excited. And I got back the backing pad, the exam pad, and I said, I passed it. And he said, no, you failed at the very first traffic light. And I was like, what? And he says, yes, you failed at the very first traffic light, impeded traffic, automatic fail. When you stalled, there was somebody behind you. And I was devastated. That night, my instructor took me out driving around town, went all through it again. And I was like, yes, I got it this time. I can do this. I can do this. Went to take the exam the next day. As I did so, I got through most of the exam. The examiner said, wow, this is the easiest test I've had in months. You're going to make a fabulous driver. I got back to the very last traffic light and I popped the clutch, impeded traffic, automatic fail. That truck stalled. So this time I knew what was going on. And I wound up driving back to the testing pad, crying hysterically. And I was crying, please just, I failed, didn't I? I failed. And the examiner says, please, I need you to return to the building. And when we get parked, we'll have a discussion. No, just tell me I failed. And he didn't want to tell me because, he has to keep me composed and that wasn't working. So when we got back to the location, he said, yes, it was an automatic fail, impeded traffic. And I was crying hysterically and I wrapped my arms around him and said, please don't send me back to Jersey, please. And this poor guy who is pretty big and kind of a little scary looking actually has a beard and bald and tall and a little stocky but really nice guy. He said to me, look, you have one more chance to pass this test. And if you fail it for the drive test for the third time, you cannot retest in the state of Missouri. You'll have to go back to Jersey. But get some practice with that clutch because you are going to make a fabulous driver one day. And I want you here at this company. So take my card. And he wrote a message on the back of the card and said, if you fail, get some practice back home, retest, get your CDL, and then reapply to our company because you will make a great driver. And I do want you here. And I know you can do it. And because of the way he treated me, the very next day I went and I tested and I had a perfect score driving around town and I got my CDL. That was one of the hardest things I ever had to do in my life. And I've had a very traumatizing life, and we'll get to that some other time, but I always felt as though I could do anything I wanted to do. And yet, with the backing, with the driving, with the CDL test, I felt limited. It was such a struggle. Learning always came easy for me, but learning to back a tractor trailer was not easy for me. Having people explain things to me the way that I needed them explained was not something that was easily found. And because that gentleman treated me so respectfully, because of that positive reinforcement, those compliments, and that time that he gave me, I was able to calm down, clear my mind, and get the job done. That was 9 years ago. And I still see that gentleman from time to time. And then when I start training and he start testing my students, and I would tell this story to my students and say, see, the examiners want you to pass. They want you to do a good job. Of course, they don't want a gotcha moment where they're going to fail you. That's not their job. Their job is just to evaluate you and make sure that you're safe. But sometimes in this life, we'll allow one person to affect our attitude. We'll allow one person to maybe sway us from our goals, our decisions, our desires. Sometimes we allow one person in our life to change our entire attitude about life, about our careers, our jobs, about love, kids, marriage, relationships. And more often than not, it's usually the negative people we allow to affect us. So, my challenge to you is find the positive people in life. Find the positive people in life that can say, you can do this. You will do this. Don't give up on yourself. Because it's through those people that when we're feeling down, we'll be able to succeed. It's those people that will inspire us and encourage us and keep us moving forward. And only you can decide who you allow into your life. So get rid of the negativity, get rid of the toxic people. And if you can't get rid of them, at least understand who and what they are. And understand that one person can affect your attitude negatively, but one person can also affect your attitude positively. Here I am 9 years later with a fabulous career. I'm well respected. I win awards. I've helped so many people. And yet, if that one examiner had been even slightly nasty to me or discouraging, I may not have had the confidence to go back. I may not have gotten to this point. And I think of him a lot. I appreciate him and the other people that supported me through the early part of my career. And I've made it a point to make sure that I try to encourage other people and help them. And I'm going to challenge you to be one of those positive lights that helps guide people to make good decisions, to have a positive life. There's already so much negativity in the world. We don't need it. And sometimes when things are a struggle, we're looking at the short term. Sometimes we look for a long term solution for a short term situation. And we do it in relationships. Did you ever have an argument with a partner and it turns into, well, I want a divorce or I'm leaving? Do you really want that divorce? You're just angry. But sometimes there's things that can't be unsaid. So try not to make rash decisions. Try to keep your calm. Try to think things out. Try not to allow your emotions to get the better of you. Appreciate what you have today because it may not be here tomorrow, and that includes people. And when you fall, realize that you can get back up. Never give up on yourself. Never give up on yourself because you are the one that controls your destiny. I thank you for listening, and I hope to see you out here trucking along. Bye.